Men of Reddit, what instantly turned you off a woman? Girlfriend got drunk and started dancing, grinding, with another dude at a club. Ended the relationship. She didn't know what she did wrong. Definite turn off frown. My second date with this one girl was going to a Christmas party of a mutual friend. After we were there for a little while, she started talking to this other guy and they went to some corner where no one else could interrupt them and talked for an hour. When they were done talking, she immediately told me she was leaving and up and bounced. Totally turned me off, so I didn't talk to her again for a while. A month later she reached out and was like, "Why haven't you called me?" I was kind of dumbfounded that she would actually ask. I didn't have anything else going on at the time, so I figured we could try again, but the Christmas party left such a bad taste in my mouth I couldn't even feign interest. This is what my coworker did to me. Asked me out, we went out, she danced with other dudes and then came back to the table with 2 drinks and set them down and started drinking. I assumed the other one was for me and took a swig. She looked annoyed at me and asked me if that was mine apostrophe ... Then she looked exasperated and came back with another drink and explained to me she was trying to pick up this dude and took her 2 drinks over to some guy's table. I gathered my shit to leave and she stopped me before I hit the door, saying that if this guy didn't want to take her home she would need a ride. Still, I just nodded and left. Stopped talking to her altogether. Later on she wrote me a note saying stuff like, "Why haven't we followed up? And I thought we liked each other?" and so on. She couldn't understand why I lost interest in her. I believe you, but this is so absurd that I almost can't believe this person exists. Bad breath and bad hygiene. She looked decent enough, but I couldn't get past the smell. I thought maybe we could try an open relationship after I caught her fucking one of my friends. Wait, she legit thought that card would work after getting caught? What the fuck, yo? Yeah, I was told a lot of lies in a very short period of time. It's quite a story. Things are better now, though. Long term, best thing that ever happened to me. Told her friend in public that my mom was stupid and made fun of her for 20 minutes. She didn't know my mother's friend was sitting next to her in the restaurant and heard the whole thing. We were in college and in a different town, which made the whole experience for her that much more unfortunate. I was done, particularly because my mom was nothing but the kindest person to her and made every effort to make her feel welcome when she visited. Damn, fuck that chick. Not literally though. Isolating me away from my friends and yelling at me when I hung out with them. Yeah, I hate people like that. Had a girl I dated and we were pretty into each other. One day she got extremely upset with me for saying something pretty innocuous because it reminded her of something from her past. I said I'd remember not to bring that up in the future and apologized, though that didn't seem to suffice. It appeared I was to be punished or treated poorly for it. I asked if I could get a pass on this, as there was no way I could have known what I said would have bothered her, but no. I asked her if there was anything else that really set her off like this and she said yes, though I'd have to find out on my own. I asked if there was anything I could do in the future to avoid upsetting her or causing one of these situations, and again she angrily said no. I was getting a little perturbed by this point and asked if she was really blaming me for saying something harmless that I had absolutely no idea would set her off that way, and she said yes. So I tried to reason with her one last time. So you're telling me that there is a minefield out there? That you know where all the mines are but refuse to tell me? And that if I step on one of these and it goes off, it is my fault and I should be punished as a result? Indeed she did. We were supposed to go out for supper, but I told her I wasn't hungry, got in my car and went home. If you're going to create the path and conditions of failure for our relationship, you can trust that I will find the shortcut every time. I've been there, but I chose to walk the field. I know better now. You're smart for not choosing to try and make it work. I too chose to walk this field. Quite unsurprisingly, I kept stepping on mines. I was young and stupid, but I did learn something from it at least. When she thought the appropriate response to me saying something she didn't agree with was a slap across the face. She had gotten into a fight with her friend because of something she was completely in the wrong about. I made the mistake of calling her out on it. Oh, I have a strong policy on this. A girl gets one warning not to face slap me again. If it ever happens again, I walk right the fuck out of the situation and never speak to them again. I don't give a flying fuck if it's in jest or not that hard. I had one relationship where I literally became a black and blue punching bag, and another where the I'm joking slaps left my face sore for days. They both started out playful and quickly progressed to abusive, and that's not a fucking game. I don't hit you in the face for any reason. You do not hit me in the face for any reason. I don't give a shit how angry you are. They're lucky to get one warning. That's fucking bullshit. If you did that to her, you'd be abusive. But just because she's a woman it's okay? Nope, not buying that. Unacceptable. I'm sorry you were in a relationship like that, and I'm glad you're out of it now. My cat and her dog didn't get along. She said I'd have to choose between her and her dog or the cat. I picked cat. She cried. It was the second date. Bye-bye. Greater than my cat and her dog didn't get along. I'm surprised you knew this bit of information on the second date. I could see if you both had dogs and met at the park or something. But how does your cat meet her dog? Second date was me cooking dinner at my apartment. She brought the dog, without warning me. Cat immediately took a swipe, so I put him in the bedroom and kept the dog in the living room, and the dog wouldn't stop barking and clawing at my bedroom door. I was pretty much done when she brought the dog over unannounced, but I figured we'd stick out the night since I'd already started cooking, but the dog just wouldn't calm down, which got us heated and led to the ultimatum. Her daughter asked her for permission to go to a friend's house. She told her daughter to ask me for permission. We had only been dating for a month, and I had only met the kid once. I had never seen a 9-year-old cringe before. That was your cue to step up with the true dad response, ask your mother. Shit. That's brilliant. But, I was still processing the fact that I was suddenly being asked to give a dad response. For the first time ever. More of an online thing, not Earl, but any girl who puts in their bio something needlessly rude or totally unoriginal. Back when I was on Tinder, honestly 70% of girls would have either a Rick and Morty quote, or say something like "smoke me out, I'll probably like your dog more than you, Venmo me," or something about an awful personality trait. Like if you actually spent time to think of what to write and this is how you wanted to present yourself, I can only imagine the issues you must come with. When she got drunk, turned super angry towards me, then defended herself and didn't remember it the next day. Instant clinginess. We went out, had a great date and some light fun at her place. She called me the next day while I was out with a friend. I didn't answer. She then called me over and over again until I finally answered. We're talking about 10 to 15 calls in a row, and when I answered I asked if anything was wrong. Since she kept calling, she said no and said she just hates texting and prefers talking on the phone. I had to calmly explain to her I was out with a friend and if I don't answer, I will call you back, but calling me over and over makes me think it's an emergency. We tried one more date, but at that point it was awkward and I was no longer invested. Also had one girl text me over 130 times in one day after one date. It was worse because we worked at the same place, albeit different departments. It surprised me. In both cases I thought they were out of my league. My man, you were out of their league. I had a friend once tell me that I was out of somebody else's league and I just kinda stood there in disbelief for a moment. I'm in a league. And it's not the bottom one? She told me she expected me to text her good morning every single morning before her. The bitch got up at 6 every day and I don't get up till 8, fuck off, that is horse shit. Is there a way you could automate that? This was my first thought. But still shouldn't have to do that. Though I think I would automate it to be passive aggressive. Good morning, I am still asleep, but this is my personal assistant texting you to say good morning. Please wait till normal business hours to text back. Norm business hours are the hours of 8 AM to 10 PM. I was on a date where she was really mean to the waiter for a stupid reason, like not enough ice in her cocktail or something, I forget exactly. All of the feelings just evaporated. I was on a date with a girl who did this. She was a waitress also. I couldn't fucking believe it. It's insane that people think this is acceptable. I have some golden rules for living. Number 1 is never be rude to people who would be fired if they were rude back. Entitlement. As in, I deserve special treatment every day of my life cause I'm so beautiful. Makes me want to barf, no matter how pretty they are. An ex once told me, I guess as a joke in her mind, that she thought she was too pretty for me. That was the last straw there. We were both 20, hanging out at her nice apartment. She casually, proudly told me she had a sugar daddy, a married guy I knew, and loathed. Lumbug? Say hello to Lumbug for to the power of ME. I have an accent. So anyone who is way too into that gets the boot pretty quickly. I once walked out on a date because she spent 30 minutes trying to impersonate me and couldn't understand why I didn't think it was endearing. As someone with a southern accent, I know the feeling. I lived in CT for 2 years and had someone from Boston making fun of my accent. Get your car keys and get out of here. I'd bet it's because as a Bostoner in CT, they probably get their accent shit on full time. Still lame though, sorry to hear. Not being able to stay off your phone. I'm on a date to talk to you, not watch you track your followers. I've actually been out with a girl who was actively tracking her online dating while we were on the date. Noped right out of that one. Breaking up with me. I'm sorry, but if you dump me, that's it, relationship over. I was in a relationship that over the course of 3 years we had broken up twice and both times were more her idea than mine. The final time we broke up I refused to take her back and she got upset with me saying that we got back together the first 2 times so I would have to take her back this time. She got mad at me saying that it wasn't fair because she didn't want it to be over. I just looked at her and said, well, sometimes breakups are one-sided. Been there. Got dumped and she came back. Got dumped a second time, which oddly hurt way more than the first time. I'm guessing it's because we opened up a lot about things after the first one and got closer. It's been many years, so I don't remember for sure, but I think we had a third round before I wouldn't take her back. She went ballistic when I wouldn't take her back and told everyone I dumped her. Funny how that works. Anyway, I don't play this game anymore. Self-respect is a pretty amazing thing to find. Sense of entitlement and wanting me to be something I wasn't. She always had to have her way and I basically couldn't have a different opinion without getting in trouble. I had a slightly less terrible version of this. But the minute you feel you need to walk on eggshells around her, it's essentially over. Desperation. It's a common internet meme for men to be desperate and scare women away. Let me tell you, it happens the other way as well. I met a girl online who was pretty, had a good job, kind, generous, and was overall a solid catch. The problem she had was that she was way too desperate to find a partner. I'm not even saying she was the kind of girl who had the relationship mapped out in stages, i.e. date 8 months, married in 16 months, kids by 24 months. Those girls exist, too. But this girl was just desperate for a partner. She was pursuing the idea of coming home to her partner, cooking him dinner, making him lunch, sitting on the couch in sweats eating popcorn. Basically, she was in love with the idea of being in love. All those things are great goals for a relationship that you can aspire to over time. Not so much something to pursue or dream of on the first or second date. I was in a long-term relationship with someone like this and it hurt when I realized she didn't really like me that much. It was just that she really wanted to be in a relationship. I'm glad I figured it out before we got married, which she was pushing for after 18 months. Ever since then I've been really cautious of people who are moving too fast or just seem to like the idea of being part of a relationship no matter who their partner is. Oh goodness. That was me with my first GF. I think she could see what was wrong with me, told me flat out what was wrong, then said she wanted to break up. Sad as I was then, I was thankful for her saying something, as I was just ignoring everyone else. Now I know how not to be the next time I date, whenever that might be, saying how my major isn't manly enough, I'm in nursing school BTW, and love it. Edit. Wow, I was not expecting this to be upvoted so much. Thank you all for your support. I hope to become an amazing nurse someday, hopefully either ICU or surgery, but I would love to do travel nursing too. Smile. Well, she's a twat. Testing your commitment. Especially if they want to see if you'd fight for me. A girl I knew in high school asked to borrow $500 from me as a test. I apparently failed. I'm sorry, but I was in high school and didn't even have $500 to my name. Lol. Edit, grammar. It was a test to see if she could con some guy out of $500. Seeing her treat her parents like doormats. Or seeing her treat anyone like doormats. Or seeing her treat her doormats like people. We literally met each other 2 days ago and I wouldn't text her while I was at work the following day, so she had a meltdown and her mom started texting me asking what I did wrong. Didn't even know this girl at all. Edit, I was 19 at the time and this girl was 18, I worked with her at a retail store. Anyways, she messaged me on a Monday mornings like 7, we started talking and whatnot and she FaceTimed me out of nowhere, so we FD for an hour or so, then I had to go to work. Later that day she came and sat with me on my lunch break and the vibe was off. I didn't really feel a connection, so I just was being more of a friend. The next day a coworker comes up to me and says, so I hear you and underscore are talking? I said I don't even know her last name. Coworker starts laughing. The girl texted me later that night and says, so I guess this means we're talking, since coworker knows I relied I don't even know your last name, and that set her off apparently, cause 5 minutes later she replies, but it's her mom asking what I did wrong because the girl is having a meltdown. I met her Monday morning and by Tuesday evening I blocked contact. Holy cow. Her mom was texting. Jesus. When they complain about me being friends with other girls. Yay, like I'm gonna cut out every woman in my life just because you're too insecure with yourself. The ironic moment when the girl who complains about you being friends with other girls is also friends with a load of guys as well, but sees no problem in that, makes it so much worse. I see you've met my ex. All my friends are guys, I just get along better with them. I'm going bike riding with Sarah because she is literally the only other person that will ride with me. It makes me really uncomfortable that you guys spend so much time together. Weren't you at some guy's birthday at a bar until like 3 AM last Saturday? That's different. I had a girlfriend recently. Only lasted about 7 months. And this is one of the reasons I, in the end, couldn't stand her. Every time she talked about something and I thought she finished speaking and I started to speak, she continued speaking but in slightly louder tone as if I rudely interrupted her. And if I happened to do it again, she just went from loud to louder. Her speaking pattern was filled with pauses, so it was very easy to mistake one of those pauses for a finished sentence. Love the way you changed the font for the tone. Made me giggle as I got the picture in my head. Thanks. I thought it added a little vivid expression to the story. She told me she was going after her ex for a certain amount of money. That on its own was not the problem. The money she wanted was the $500 in shared living expenses she contributed over the 7 years they were together. She wanted every penny back. She thought that as long as they stayed together, then the contribution made sense, but if they broke up, then she got to live for free, retroactively. Food, mortgage, utilities. All of it. So she was contributing maybe 25% of the overall living expenses, but because he made 60-80k/year and she made 30-40k/year, she shouldn't have to pay a single dime of those shared living expenses over the years they were together. Unless of course they stayed together. If she had done some calculation to figure out how much of that $500 went toward the principal on the mortgage, and wanted that back, I'd have agreed, 100%. But no. She expected her man to pay 100% for all share living expenses. I had been dating her for a couple of weeks and broke it off a week or so later. Edit, sorry guys, that's $500 per month over 7 years. So she wanted $500 by 12 by 7 equals $42,000. $500 in 7 years? Where the hell were they living that $500 makes up 25% of the living expenses over 7 years? It sounds like she was seriously not pulling her weight financially, even accounting for the income discrepancy, calling her university teachers retarded after 30 minutes on our first date. She could not take the test because she did not show up a couple of times and thought it was her professor's duty to tell her in advance. Well, read the damn syllabus, you're not in high school anymore. She told me all her elaborate plans of getting him fired. After I told her she was in the wrong, she got mad. $100 says she never finished college.